I would say that, these files were made up by Comey. They were made up by Obama. They were made up by the Biden,
Okay, cool. Cool as a cucumber. This guy's not worried about a thing. So let me get this straight. According to Trump, all the top Democrats got together and said, let's create some fake files that destroy Trump's political career. They don't ever use them. They let Trump get elected. Don't use them. Let Trump get elected again. Still don't use them. And then once he's the president, hope he releases the files without ever looking at them.
Holy crap, you guys. We need to talk about what just dropped, because this Epstein files situation is about to blow up in ways nobody saw coming. December 19th? That's 2 weeks from now. And President Trump's own Justice Department has to release every single unclassified document they have on Jeffrey Epstein. Flight logs, emails, photos, communications, everything. And here's the kicker. Trump himself signed the law that's forcing this release. Can you believe this? The guy literally signed his own potential political death warrant back in November, and now it's coming back to haunt him in the most spectacular way possible. House Democrats just released never-before-seen photos and videos from Epstein's private island on December 3rd, and they're calling it a disturbing glimpse into what was really happening down there. But that's just the appetizer, folks. The main course is coming December 19th. Representative Robert Garcia said these new island photos show a disturbing glimpse into Epstein's life, and that's putting it mildly. We're talking about images that have been locked away for years, stuff that nobody outside law enforcement has ever seen before. And the timing? Oh man, the timing couldn't be worse for Trump. Right as he's trying to consolidate power in his second term, right as he's pushing through controversial immigration policies and Supreme Court picks, boom. Epstein files deadline hits like a freight train. This is wild. The Epstein Files Transparency Act, remember that name because it's going to be everywhere in the next 2 weeks, requires Attorney General Pam Bondi to release all DOJ records related to Epstein. Flight logs showing who flew where and when, communications between Epstein and his powerful friends, financial records, legal documents, the whole enchilada. And here's what's really wild. Bipartisan lawmakers are demanding Bondi brief them by the end of this week on what's actually in these files. Think about that for a second. Republicans and Democrats agreeing on something? That never happens unless it's either really important or really explosive. Probably both in this case. Because the emails that have already been unsealed, they mention Trump by name, not hints, not coded language. His actual name appears in Epstein's communications. And Trump previously called for investigations into Democrats' connections to Epstein. But now the tables have completely turned. Are you kidding me? But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest. You can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built Pump Politics, to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, join our free newsletter. We'll send the news straight to your inbox every day. Just click the link in the description to join. And if you just want to support what we're doing, join us. Be part of the community that actually cares about the truth. All right, let's get back to the video. The conspiracy theory crowd is going absolutely nuts right now. Social media is exploding with speculation about what's going to be in these files, who's going to get exposed, whose careers are going to end. And honestly, can you blame them? When you've got photos from a private island where unspeakable things allegedly happened, and you know there are flight logs showing who visited that island, yeah, people are going to connect dots whether those dots should be connected or not. But here's where it gets really interesting. Trump signed this Transparency Act thinking it would hurt his political opponents. He probably figured most of the damaging stuff would be about Democrats, Hollywood elites, other people he doesn't like. Classic Trump move, use the legal system as a political weapon. Except this time, the weapon might be pointed right back at him. The DOJ has been dragging their feet on this release for months. They keep saying they need more time to review documents, more time to redact sensitive information, more time for this and that. But the law is the law, and December 19th is a hard deadline. No extensions, no delays, no excuses. Everything gets released whether they're ready or not. And Pam Bondi, she's in the worst possible position right now. Trump's hand-picked attorney general having to potentially release files that could destroy her boss's presidency. Talk about a loyalty test. Does she follow the law Trump signed, or does she find some creative way to protect him? Because let's be real, if these files contain what people think they contain, we're not talking about a political scandal. We're talking about a presidency-ending bombshell. The photos that just got released are already causing massive controversy. House Oversight Democrats made sure to time this perfectly, release disturbing island images right before the big file dump to build maximum anticipation and pressure. It's political theater at its finest, and Trump is the star whether he wants to be or not. You've got people on both sides losing their minds right now. Trump supporters are screaming that this is a witch hunt, that Democrats are weaponizing old allegations to destroy their president. Trump critics are saying this proves everything they suspected all along about his character and his associations. And somewhere in the middle, regular Americans are just trying to figure out what the hell is actually going on. The next 2 weeks are going to be absolutely insane. Every news cycle, every social media post, every political conversation is going to center around one question. What's in those Epstein files? And more importantly, what do those files say about the guy currently sitting in the Oval Office? December 19th can't come fast enough, or maybe it's coming way too fast depending on where you stand. Alright, so let's dig into the real story here, because most people are completely missing what's actually happening behind the scenes. This isn't just about old photos or conspiracy theories. This is about Trump getting caught in a trap of his own making, and it's beautiful to watch if you're into political irony. Here's what really went down. Back in November, Trump signed the Epstein Files Transparency Act thinking he was being clever. The guy loves transparency when it hurts his enemies, right? He figured this would expose Democrats, Hollywood liberals, maybe some deep state operatives, all the usual suspects. Classic Trump strategy, use government power to go after people who crossed him. But someone on his legal team apparently forgot to mention that transparency works both ways. When you demand the release of everything related to Epstein, that includes everything related to everyone who knew Epstein. And guess who was photographed with Epstein multiple times over the years? Guess who called Epstein a terrific guy back in the day? Yeah, this is where the 4D chess strategy kind of falls apart. The timeline here is actually incredible when you think about it. November 19th, Trump signs the act with great fanfare, talking about how Americans deserve to know the truth about Epstein's network. December 3rd, House Democrats release island photos that immediately reignite speculation about who was involved. December 19th, everything gets released whether Trump likes it or not. It's like watching someone light a fuse and then realize they're standing on the dynamite. Come on, you can't make this stuff up. And the photos that just dropped? Come on, let's be honest about what we're looking at here. These aren't vacation pics from some tropical getaway. We're talking about images from an island where federal prosecutors say serious crimes were committed. An island where powerful people allegedly did things that would end careers and destroy lives if they came to light. And now we've got visual evidence of what that place actually looked like. Representative Garcia wasn't exaggerating when he called it a disturbing glimpse. The House Oversight Committee doesn't release stuff like this unless they're trying to make a point. And the point is pretty clear. This isn't going away, no matter how much Trump and his allies want it to disappear. They've got the receipts, they've got the photos, and in 2 weeks they're going to have everything else. But here's where it gets really wild. The emails that have already surfaced mention Trump by name. Not vague references, not coded language. Actual communications where Epstein is talking about Trump directly. And these are just the appetizers. The main course hasn't been served yet. Think about what that means for a second. If the partial releases are already this explosive, what's going to be in the full document dump? Flight logs showing who flew to the island and when? Financial records showing who got paid for what? Communication logs showing who was talking to whom, about what? This could be the political equivalent of a nuclear bomb going off. And Trump knows it. You can tell because his whole strategy has shifted in the past few weeks. He went from demanding transparency about Epstein's connections to being suspiciously quiet about the whole thing. His social media posts have been focused on immigration and trade deals instead of his usual attacks on the deep state. That's not normal Trump behavior unless he's really worried about something. The DOJ delay tactics are getting more obvious by the day, too. They keep saying they need more time to review sensitive information, more time to protect national security, more time to respect privacy concerns. But the law Trump signed doesn't give them more time. It gives them a hard deadline of December 19th, and that deadline is approaching fast. Pam Bondi is in an impossible position right now. She's Trump's attorney general, appointed by Trump, confirmed because Trump wanted someone loyal in that position. But now she has to choose between following the law her boss signed and potentially protecting that same boss from political destruction. Talk about a catch-22. If she releases everything as required, she could be releasing information that ends Trump's presidency. If she finds ways to delay or redact key information, she's violating federal law and probably committing career suicide. Either way, her tenure as Attorney General is going to be remembered for this moment. This is wild. The bipartisan pressure is real too. When you've got Republicans and Democrats both demanding answers, that means the political calculations have shifted completely. Republicans who might normally circle the wagons around Trump are keeping their distance on this one. Democrats are smelling blood in the water and pushing for maximum transparency. And let's talk about the conspiracy theory angle for a minute, because that's driving a lot of the public interest here. Social media is absolutely exploding with speculation about what's going to be revealed. QAnon people are convinced this will vindicate their theories about elite pedophile networks. Trump critics think this will finally prove what they've suspected all along. Regular people are just trying to separate fact from fiction in an ocean of wild speculation. The problem is that conspiracy theories thrive in information vacuums. When you don't know what's true, your imagination fills in the blanks. And right now, we're in the biggest information vacuum in political history. We know something big is coming, we know it involves powerful people, but we don't know exactly what or how bad it's going to be. December 19th is either going to validate some of these theories or debunk them completely. But either way, the political landscape is going to look very different on December 20th than it does today. Because once information like this gets released, you can't put it back in the box. It's out there forever, shaping public opinion and political narratives for years to come. Trump probably thought he was being smart when he signed that Transparency Act. Turned the Epstein scandal into a weapon against his enemies while positioning himself as the transparency candidate. Except he forgot the most important rule of political warfare. Make sure your own hands are clean before you start throwing mud. Too late now, though. The countdown has started and there's no stopping it. Okay, so let's break this down into what actually matters, because this Epstein files situation is about to reshape American politics in ways nobody's fully prepared for. First point, this is a classic case of Trump getting hoisted by his own petard. The guy literally signed the law that's about to potentially destroy his presidency. Like, think about the irony here. He wanted to use transparency as a political weapon against Democrats, and now that same transparency law is going to expose his own connections to Epstein. It's almost too perfect to be real, but here we are. The Epstein Files Transparency Act requires the DOJ to release everything by December 19th. Flight logs, communications, financial records, legal documents, the works. And Trump can't claim he didn't know this was coming because he literally signed the bill into law. His own signature is on the document that's forcing this release. You can't make this stuff up. And the photos that just dropped from House Democrats, those are just the opening act. We're talking about never-before-seen images from Epstein's private island, showing what Representative Garcia called a disturbing glimpse into Epstein's life. But if the photos are this explosive, imagine what's going to be in the actual documents. Email chains, phone records, meeting logs, all the stuff that shows who knew what and when they knew it. Come on, this is getting absolutely crazy by the day. Second point, the political timing couldn't be worse for Trump. Here he is, trying to consolidate power in his second term, pushing through controversial policies, dealing with Supreme Court fights and congressional battles. And right in the middle of all that chaos, boom, the biggest scandal of his career comes roaring back to life. It's like political kryptonite at the worst possible moment. The 2026 midterms are already going to be tough for Republicans. Midterm elections usually go against the president's party anyway, and Trump's policies are creating massive opposition energy. But now add in potential explosive revelations about his personal connections to a convicted sex trafficker. That's not just political damage, that's political devastation. And the conspiracy theory element is making everything worse. Social media is going absolutely crazy with speculation about what's going to be revealed. People are connecting dots whether those dots should be connected or not. Truth and fiction are getting mixed up in ways that make rational political discussion almost impossible. When December 19th hits and these files actually get released, it's either going to validate years of conspiracy theories or create entirely new ones. Are you kidding me with this timing? Third point, Attorney General Pam Bondi is in the worst possible position any AG has ever faced. She has to choose between following the law and potentially destroying her boss's presidency. Think about that pressure for a second. Trump appointed her specifically because he wanted someone loyal in that position. But now that loyalty is being tested in the most extreme way possible, if she releases everything as required by law, she could be releasing information that ends Trump's political career. If she tries to delay or heavily redact the documents, she's violating federal law and probably committing career suicide. There's no good option here for her personally or politically. She's basically being forced to choose between legal compliance and personal loyalty. The bipartisan pressure makes it even worse. When Republicans and Democrats are both demanding transparency, that means the political cover is gone. She can't claim this is just partisan politics or Democratic witch hunting. Even Trump's own party members are saying the law needs to be followed. That's political isolation at the highest level. This is wild, like unprecedented levels of political pressure for any attorney general to face. Fourth point, this story isn't going away regardless of what's actually in the files. Even if Trump comes out completely clean when everything gets released, the damage is already being done. The speculation, the conspiracy theories, the constant media coverage, it's all creating a narrative that's going to stick regardless of the facts. And if the files do contain damaging information, game over. We're talking about potential presidency-ending revelations that could reshape the entire political landscape. Not just for Trump personally, but for the Republican Party, for American politics, for public trust in institutions. The ripple effects would be massive and long-lasting. The really wild part is that Trump did this to himself. Nobody forced him to sign that Transparency Act. He could have ignored it, vetoed it, found ways to water it down, but he wanted to use it as a political weapon, and now that weapon is pointed right back at him. It's like the ultimate example of political karma coming full circle. Plus, let's be real about what this means for his second-term agenda. Every policy fight, every congressional battle, every Supreme Court nomination, it's all going to be overshadowed by this Epstein files story. Instead of talking about immigration reform or trade deals, everyone's going to be talking about flight logs and island photos. That's not exactly the legacy Trump was hoping for. The next 2 weeks are going to be absolutely insane. Every news cycle is going to be dominated by speculation about what's coming. Social media is going to explode with theories and rumors. Political analysts are going to be working overtime trying to predict the fallout. And somewhere in the middle of all that chaos, December 19th is going to arrive whether everyone's ready or not. When those files finally get released, we're either going to see the biggest political scandal in modern American history, or we're going to see a massive anticlimax that leaves everyone disappointed. But either way, the political landscape is going to look completely different on December 20th. Trump probably thought he was playing 4D chess when he signed that transparency law. Turns out he was just lighting a very long fuse on a very big bomb, and now all we can do is wait to see how big the explosion's going to be. December 19th can't come fast enough, or maybe it's coming way too fast. Guess we'll find out soon enough. And you know what's really going to make this interesting? The international implications. Foreign governments are watching this situation develop with intense interest. America's allies and adversaries alike are probably running their own analyses of what these files might contain and how it could affect U.S. foreign policy and diplomatic relationships. If the files reveal connections between Epstein and other world leaders or international figures, this becomes a global scandal that transcends American politics. We could be looking at diplomatic fallout that affects trade negotiations, military alliances, and international cooperation on everything from climate change to security issues. The media landscape is going to be absolutely bonkers too. Every major news outlet is already positioning themselves for maximum coverage. CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, they're all going to be running wall-to-wall coverage when December 19th hits. And in this era of 24-hour news cycles and instant social media reaction, the information is going to spread faster and more chaotically than anything we've seen before. Misinformation is going to run wild. Legitimate revelations are going to get mixed up with fake news and conspiracy theories. Sorting through what's actually true is going to be a massive challenge for everyone, from professional journalists to regular citizens trying to understand what's happening. This is the kind of story that defines careers in journalism. Getting it right could make someone's reputation, getting it wrong could destroy it.